All right, hi everyone, Chris here, back with the Camaro finally. I haven't had it in my garage for 3-4 weeks, I want to say. I had it brought down to a local kind of restoration shop here in Minnesota, and they did a bunch of, I don't want to say repairs, but I want to say enhancements on the Camaro. I had it in my bubble and I fondled it throughout the last couple of weeks and found certain things that I didn't like and wanted to enhance other things. So let me bring the camera and we'll kind of show some of this stuff off. Some of it's small, not that big of a deal. Things like, even adding little bumpers here so the license plate doesn't slam. I had to do that on the inside as well, but you find some of these things that are not right, and I don't know if you remember the first video, but I couldn't adjust my driver's side mirror. It's because the guy who built it had a passenger side mirror on the driver's side. So here's a couple changes we made. We added, this is pretty cool, let me show you how this works. We added this little guy right here, and you probably can't tell, but look at that. We actually have paddle shifters in the Camaro. So this thing lights up, tells you what gear you're in, down to neutral, back up to park. That's pretty sweet. The rules of good times, cold beer. The radio that was installed in here was not proper. That's the wrong word. It wasn't working. It was a piece of junk. So we installed a new retro sound radio. Some bumpers up in here. What else? I changed the rear view mirror. This one is a lot more robust, stout, and solid. It has kind of a weird fisheye effect, but it looks pretty good. Changed out some bulbs to LED. And it's a good thing that I brought this in, and I mentioned this in my list. I have my list down here. My windows, I noticed, were not, they didn't roll very smooth. They weren't going up and down how I thought that they should. So they took everything apart, and they were missing bolts. There was missing track, meaning the track that the window rides on as it goes up and down. Don't know how that was missed, but that got fixed. We installed power windows for the back, so now they're no longer the cranks. They're power just like these. If you haven't seen these, watch this. So this looks like an old-fashioned crank, right? But then you just push down. See that? So that's pretty slick. What else? Some of the big things that I found. This is where building a car is not something I would recommend unless you can trust the person building it and you can actually physically go there and see it. The guys who built this for me, they did not install frame rail connectors, meaning the only thing connecting the front end to the rear was the body. There was no, see if I can get it on camera. There. See this bolt right there? Let's see here. So this entire piece, where my fingers along, was not there. There was nothing attaching or keeping the front. There's nothing keeping the body from warping. This thing's got a lot of power, and I can only imagine getting horned up one day and giving her some gas and twisting the body in a way that's not meant to be twisted. So that was one thing that we did. What else? Next, it's going to take a couple weeks for it to come in, but this has kind of an older school vacuum boost for the brake. I've showed this before, but let me bring the camera in one more time for this. This has a vacuum boost for braking, and it's not adequate enough. They were saying that maybe it's this hose and something else down here. It's almost half the size that it should be. This is a lot of car. These are 6-piston caliper brakes, and it takes more than what's in here to stop the car. So it's honestly not safe. It's inadequate. So I elected to install a hydro boost braking system, which is more modern. It's what I had in my other classic cars. and it makes a big difference. You know, it's constant pressure coming through the power steering pump. That's what it taps off of, versus, you know, its own vacuum, because LT4s don't make much vacuum for that type of procedure, that type of, you know, whatever. But the hydro boost coming off the steering pump, which is constant pressure, will make a significant difference. So I'm going to do that, and I haven't driven this yet. They just dropped it off here this morning. But oh, forgot about that. Suspension, the coilover shocks. If I had pictures, I might be able to have pictures here. So what was installed, it's kind of disappointing. Well, I forget the brand. It starts with a J, but let me see if I can pull up a picture. Sorry, I gotta scroll through. Is that it? Yeah, so, all right. This is, hopefully this comes through okay, but see how these little, they're almost like grommets, but they're rubber bushings. They actually popped out of this. Let me pull up another shot. This is how they should be. You know, a nice ball joint in there, keep it nice and stout and solid. Mine had popped out on all four. So again, just a little rubber bushing, I don't know if you want to call it, but just it's just pressure fit in there, and it popped out. And you would think the 200 plus miles that these guys test this car with they would have caught that. But again, they didn't catch the frame rail connector, so why would they catch this? So the type of damage that causes, the little rod that was in there, you know, pops out. So the only thing this is riding on now is one little rod inside this hole that's obviously too big for it. So we did have to actually, we had to upgrade it to QA1 suspension, which I have another Camaro coming in, should be this week. I filmed it, I'm not sure if I'm going to put it up or not, but bought another 69 Camaro at Bear Jackson, Scottsdale. My dad and I went a little crazy again, so he got a Corvette, I got another Camaro. Anyway, that has QA1 coilover shocks. So we put those in here, and also the thing wasn't even aligned right. You know, you have those rings that you adjust the shocks, height and tension, stuff like that. They were, you know, this one was way up here, this one was down here. Same thing with the sway bar. It was tightened up way up here and loose down here. It's just, moral of this rant right now is just, if you ever do end up building a car, you need to really be hands-on, and you can't just trust the process. It needs, you know, this car was inspected several times. They brought it to, I don't want to name names, but they brought it to like this tune shop, which had it for several weeks. Everything seems fine there, but I think it needs another tune. They brought it to a suspension shop, I think like 4 or 5 weeks, and it's inadequate product. It was done wrong. I don't know, this isn't about bashing. I got the car back. It's great. Here's the enhancements that I did to it, but my gosh, the whole process of this it's disheartening to want to do it again, if that makes sense. You know, that's why it's great that it's done, and this car is going to be really great once this hydro boost brake system is installed. But it took me more money to do all this stuff that was already done. It took me money to replace the shocks that were already on there. It took money to realign the car that was already aligned incorrectly. It took money to replace the radio head, the mirror, add that mirror, install the frame rail connectors. It's just like, I just want to yield caution to someone who, you know, all shops claim to be different, and it's like a classic car dealership. I don't know if you ever dealt with a classic car dealership, but we've dealt with 4, and they all claim to be better than the next guy, and in reality they're not. They're just as bad, if not worse, or whatever. And the guys that built this, they did an amazing job cosmetically. The car looks awesome. I don't think that, I mean, there's small things, but there's really, I don't think they could have done much better of a job. It's custom. It's, you know, it's one of a kind. It's all that. But to claim to be the best, have the best quality, it's proven that that's not the case, I guess. And these local guys, Classics Plus, right here in Savage, they do an amazing job. And it took them 2 days to find out there was no frame rails, the suspension was messed up. because they drove it like 2 miles, and like I hear it clinking, and put up in the hoist, checked out the suspension, and they saw it right away. So it's, I don't know. Again, some shops are better than other shops. That's what this comes down to. Yeah, and there's other things too. Like we had to grind down the roll cage. There was a burr, like a welding burr, that was really sharp, and don't want kids or anyone that goes in the back seat to hit their head or hand or whatever on there. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting. Someone made a comment actually. So I understand this is not a true Z28. I wouldn't want a Z28. You know, having had a car from that era. You know, if those numbers matching, you wouldn't drive it. That's a collector. You put it onto a trailer, you bring it to a show, you sit next to it, and you bring it home. Now, I wanted a car to look like a Z28, but drive like a modern car. So that's why I put all the time and money into this. So yeah, it has a Z28 badge, but there's no 427. There's no, you know, turbo 300 trans or anything like that. It's got a badass LT4. It's got a modern 8-speed auto. It's got paddle shifters now. It's a badass car that looks old, but it's now, thanks to Classics Plus, it's going to be dependable. It's going to ride really great. Okay, so that's the enhancements and the improvements that I made to the Camaro. It's been in a dirty shop for 4 weeks or a month, whatever. So I think it's time that I clean her up. So hopefully you guys like these detailing videos. I like doing it. So I'm gonna film that. Get this up out of the way. And yeah, I'm gonna do it in my garage once again because my garage is trashed for the moment because of it's winter. We've had such a crazy, I don't know if you guys saw my picture that I posted, but between last week and next week, we're gonna have about 140-degree temperature swing. It was -50 here, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then now today is gonna be up to like 43, and then next week's gonna be -10. It's crazy. It's just insane, you know, like a whiplash, like a roller coaster of temperatures here in Minnesota. So the garage is trashed, Camaro's trashed in my opinion. So let's go ahead and clean her up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run some hot water through it, because after watching that Camaro video, the new Camaro, the 2019, that hot water did a lot of, you know, good to the clear bra. And hopefully you guys can hear me. I've had this mic for a while, but I never use it because it's not awkward, but I feel, I don't know. You can hear me, I'm sure, a lot better. So let me know in the comments if you think that that's good, that I have this little mic on my shirt. All right, anyway, as I was saying, I'm gonna put hot water in this just to rinse it off real quick, because I wanna see if the hot water will get rid of any, you know, imperfections in the clear bra. This car is expelled. That's a type of film, if you don't know, that reacts to hot temperatures, like, you know, if it's hot outside, the sunlight, or what I'm doing here is just hot water. I'm not going to waste this water. We're going to put it in the buckets. All right. Water's not hot yet, so I'm going to fill up the buckets. There she goes. Now she's hot. All right. Again, I'm just going to rinse down the car with this hot water. Hopes that it takes any imperfections out of the clear bra. Let's do this real quick because I want to really rinse it down with the pressure washer. I don't know if this is even going to do anything. That 19 Camaro, if you haven't watched it yet, I had some what I thought were scratches in the clear coat. And out of curiosity, I just took hot water to it, the parts that were clear bra'd, and I just basically rinsed it like this. And those scratches I thought were in the clear coat were actually scratches, what I'm assuming is from a terry cloth towel, into the clear bra. So I was pretty happy to get those out of there. Yeah, see, it doesn't get it hot, but it's warm. I doubt this is even doing anything. It's probably not hot enough. I want to get a lift in my garage so I can clean the side of this. That was another thing that we did I should add too. There was a bunch of small little paint spots that were missed that thankfully these guys caught. Hope they can hear me okay. The paint stuff that was missed were the rear seat, custom made seat. And so paint spot, I don't know if you can hear me, I'm gonna repeat myself. The spots that were missed were the back seats, it's custom made with Carl, like replicas type seat. And the frame was all raw metal. That's gonna rust. So we had to paint that. We found several spots underneath the wheel wells that were raw metal that we painted over so it doesn't, I mean obviously they're already starting to rust, so we fixed that and painted it. The frame had some chips in it as if they bottomed out in it. Fix that, I don't know. Hot. Such a badass car. Got my Camaro sign in the background. I hate having a dirty garage floor. I just sucked up my hose and all this sand and crud came with it. All right, hook up this. Well, you guys have seen my setup. I'm pretty sure I've shown it, just in case. So I got this. There, it's all in one frame there. I've got my softened hot and cold water that I plumbed up into a, kind of a Y, so it's one, into this hose that's got from front gate. It's kind of a 1/2 inch diameter. It's like 150 feet of hose. It works great for running out to the street and stuff. And I hook it up to this Krenzel that I got from Matt. That's missing this. This thing works great. And then this plumbs, if you can see, it plumbs behind the fridge and comes down to this hose reel. Oh, battery's about to die. I gotta change my battery, 1 second. All right, there we go, new battery. Anyway, so the hose comes from behind the fridge and into this hose reel that I tap into for all the MTM attachments. So I just turn on the softened water. And then we got pressurized water here. I hope this is a good angle. Let's see, let's put it right like that. That's pretty good, huh? Yeah, you can see the whole car. Okay, so I'm gonna put my buckets to the side. Got my fresh mitt, freshly cleaned that is. Put this over here because I'll need that in a little bit. Grab my little foamer. I think today I'll use, I should show this, huh? So I have this little cabinet over here that I got my arsenal in. All the stuff I like to use. I've used countless amounts of product and I've found my favorite. It's pretty consistent. This stuff works really well. We'll find that. We'll try that on here. I'm gonna use the Geon foam. Actually, yeah, we'll use Geon foam to foam it. I don't think this stuff has any hydrophobic properties to it. It's a lot. I do it every time. Put more than I intend to. Whatever. So I'll put Geon foam in the gun, and we'll do Geon Bead Plus and a little bit of boost into the wash. I'll put some boost in here too. This is Ammo Boost. Works great, and it says winter boost winter wash, but it's really fine. Not fine. I suggest it always. And that in there, in my wash bucket here. I'm gonna put some boost and a bunch of Bathe Plus. I could have put this in the foam gun too, but I wanted this to be what I clean with, not what I foam with, if that makes sense. This is on the ground, so I'm gonna clean it off. Put some warm water in here. So I put winter boost in here and Geon foam. Get it all mixed around. Put this in here and just set it to the side for now while I do one more rinse with the pressure washer. Last time too, a little bit of water was able to get inside the windows because they weren't sealed properly. Looks like this passenger one is not up all the way. Yeah, a little bit of water got in here. Window's not up all the way. Probably should have checked that, huh? Make sure it's all up. That's up. That's up. And that was not up. Okay. Now she's up. Yeah, that's better. All right, we're good now. I was gonna say, just praise these guys, but that's my fault for not checking. I think I have this dehumidifier going. It gets pretty humid in here. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot to show this. I added this front spoiler too up here. That was not on there. I think it should have been, so it is. Clean that better in a little bit. Just wanted to do this. Let me froth up the soapy bucket. And now comes the fun part. Here we go. Seems really watery, doesn't it? You notice I didn't do the wheels yet. I'm gonna do those as right now. There we go. So I'm gonna let that sit while I clean these wheels. Just in here. Not really doing this properly, and it's kind of bugging me right now. But it's fine, these things are pretty clean. So I'm just gonna do a quick wash, basically the face, because this was clean before it was brought over here, but it's gonna bug me if I don't touch these. So let's do it really quick. I hate wintertime. I don't hate the snow really, even though that makes all the mess. I hate the cold. I can deal with washing the car, once a week or something, but the cold really sucks. I talked about earlier about how it was minus 50 out here just like 4 days ago. And today it's almost 40 above. Crazy. Okay, let's get to washing. These incredibles are nice. Hopefully you guys like hopefully you guys like watching me wash. So I enjoy watching it. Other people wash cars. That soap is not really sticking very well this time. Maybe it's because I got some product on here, but you gotta be careful. A little bit of water seeps in to this top seal. It's okay, I just gotta be mindful of it. Almost dropped my mitt. Maybe my standards are just above, I don't want to say above, but just maybe my standards are higher than the average person, because I had this thing clear brought obviously, but even, you know, that company was praised, and I actually found them and online. They looked like they did a really nice job. But in person, maybe it's because this was custom cut, but I'm not too impressed with how the clear bar turned out. And they too had it for 2, maybe 3 weeks at least. Local guys, Solar Shield, they would custom cut this thing in a day. 2 days at the most. I know that because they custom cut the car we just had them do. My Camaro, my 19 Camaro, they custom cut that because the template wasn't out for it yet. And they got that guy done in a day, and it looks great. Washing the Camaro. Debated not even putting windshield wipers on this thing because it's, let's be honest, it's never going to be driven in a rainstorm, but I guess you never know. In Minnesota we have minus 50 degrees one day and then 40 degrees and 4 days later. Get all this shop dust off of here. I feel like I'm running out of suds. I don't know what was with that. It just wasn't very suds-like. Maybe I gotta froth it up some more. There she goes. I want to get this thing up on a hoist and clean it with a Q-tip. Super detailed with it. Yeah, there we go. Now we're nice and sudsy. I'll keep that lubrication going. Even though, like, you know, the process of building this car wasn't ideal, and car had some issues after the build. This is such a great car. If anybody has a classic car in Minnesota or even outside of Minnesota and needs some work done to it, I would definitely suggest Classics Plus in Savage. They look at all the small details that could have been otherwise missed. I'm doing this out of order. All right. One to the front. I think that's it. I think they had to adjust the headlights too, because they're pointing way up, you know, in the oncoming traffic. Yeah, that front spoiler is sweet. Okay, let's rinse her down. All right, I'm not entirely sure when that stopped recording. I ran out of memory space. I filmed like an hour-long paintball video a couple days ago. So I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna just take this time to clean up or suck up the crud that's been pushed towards the back of the garage. Kind of stay on top of it. I don't think this is pulling up on the camera because the door is probably blocking it, but this is very satisfying. Let me bring the, you know, it's satisfying to you know, like here, stuff going through a vacuum. It's also satisfying to watch the stuff get, you know, taken away. This is all sand and crud right here. The car is pretty dry now. All right. Close up shop. Still pretty humid in here. All right, so I'm gonna grab a brand new towel and I'm gonna apply bead maker to it and the paint, and we're gonna work it in almost as if it's like a spray wax. That's from what I understand, that's how the application process should be. So I did dry the car with a little bit of bead maker applied to the paint. I can use this towel, use this on the wheels. It's like a sticker resin. I bet this is the towel that I used to get off that sticker off the windshield. It's gotta be. All right, not using this one. This towel's nice and clean. Okay, so this is the double black. Rennie Doyle bead maker. It's supposed to be pretty good. I used it once on my Wrangler, and I thought that did a pretty good job. So I'm going to spray the towel. I'm going to spray it on the car. I'm going to work it in, flip it, and work that part in. So I'm going to I'll do a pretty good section at a time. I think you're supposed to go, you know, get a pretty good application for it, meaning, you know, don't go cheap on the product. So you work it in evenly, and they say 8 hours to cure. This thing will be sitting for a lot longer than that. That's okay. Come back over the same area. It's kind of like a cheater's ceramic coating from what I understand. It has the same principle and characteristics of a ceramic coating. You know, at a fraction of the cost and a lot less effort put into it. So that's applied pretty good, pretty thorough. I just did this front fender and half of the hood. Flip it to the dry side, kind of buff it off. I can feel it gets slick right away. Meaning I can feel the towel, you know, kind of glide. Pretty positive the stuff can be layered too, or mixed with other products. So I could have probably put Geon wet coat on here and then applied this, you know, afterwards, and who knows if it would have secured itself to the Geon wet coat or not, but apparently you can layer it. All right, we'll do the glass. We'll do up here. Come down here. And I see, don't go cheap on you. How much you use. I don't buy this stuff to not use it, so let's use it. Stuff smells good. It smells kind of like pina colada. Is that what I'm smelling, or banana? Something like that. It smells good. It rubs in nicely. You know, it's not oily. It's not. Doesn't, you know, some stuff you rub it in and it just kind of sits on the surface. This is actually moving around really nice. All right, I'm gonna go through it one more time with the damp towel. Make sure I Got every part of it, including the glass, including the mirrors, behind the door handle. Okay, and then take the dry side and buff it out. Oh, that's the proper term. Everyone uses, you know, buffing it out. I guess it is buffing it, but call it, you know, wipe it down. Yeah, it gets slick. There's a little bit of a grease to it on the windows. Like a little hazy, a little greasy. Maybe I just need another towel because this one's pretty saturated. Let me try a dryer. The whole thing's kind of wet now. Should probably get a second towel for drying. I'll worry about that later. It's gonna say it's just on the windows. I mean, if it's on the windows, it's probably on the paint, but not that I can see. It's not on the chrome. All right, well, first impression is on, you know, a clear rod vehicle like this, it's doing a nice job. I'll know more in a couple hours. I like easy application stuff like this. With how much I'm using, I'm not gonna, it's not gonna last very long. But I thought I read too or saw somewhere also that the first application should be very heavy. And then you use it just basically as like a detail spray after that, layering it as you go. Yeah, those guys didn't tint this vehicle very well. Had people down in Tulsa do the clear rod tint, and it's just, it's mediocre at best, especially considering it costs like $3 grand to do all this, which isn't bad. But for that much money, I would expect a lot nicer of a job done. I'm gonna have to have my local guys Solar Shield redo it because they didn't cut this right. You know, I can see clear window right here, tint right there, clear window right here, comes down a tint right here. It's because the windows were unaligned or misaligned, I should say. I really hope he helps me pay for some of these repairs because, as mentioned before, you know, I paid him to set it up, install it, then I had to pay someone else to do what I already paid him to do. So I had to, you know, pay to redo his work that I already paid for. I think I should get another towel. This one's getting pretty wet. I think I'll do that. All right, since this is a clean towel, yeah, now it's coming off the glass. So that towel is just a little too wet, I think. It's just looking good. Still gotta dry the wheels. Let's go over to this side. Spray it down. That's a healthy amount. You can feel it kind of smoothing out as you run it across the paint. It's probably a lot better to do this in smaller portions. But this seems acceptable, I guess. So the stuff's not drying, I'm not in the sunlight. So same thing as over there, I'm just kind of, I went vertical, now I'm going horizontal. Overlapping areas that I've come across, just so there's even coverage. All right, now we'll buff it clean. Now one day they're just gonna make, I mean, I don't know how much easier you can get than like the spray on, spray off application, but one day they're gonna probably have cars come from the factory that, you know, are so coated with stuff just to preserve them and make them look nice. That we don't have to do this type of stuff. That's what some high-end dealerships or manufacturers should do, like Ferrari and Porsche maybe, because they charge an arm and a leg for any option that's not stock. But you know, actually bring their cars during the paint process, add a second step or fourth step or fifth step, whatever it may be, you know, and apply something to it that acts as a clear coat but is impenetrable. And maybe that's just what today's got to do. They got to come up with a clear coat that's, I don't want to say scratch proof would be ideal, but scratch resistant, you know, like a clear bra. Or a ceramic coating where it's, yeah, you can scratch a ceramic coating, but it's a lot more forgiving than a clear coat. Someday. People like me would pay for that. Maybe not everybody, but I would. That would kill the aftermarket industry though, for this type of business. You know, car detailing products and clear bras and crap like that, but that's why, you know, it'd be exclusive to fancy cars. I'm just kind of rambling, sorry. It's warm. Yeah, it's like 20 degrees outside, but it's 75 in here. This front spoiler was a good addition. All right, then we'll buff it out, and it should be good. I like detailing cars. All right, I'm gonna use the same towel for the wheels, because all I gotta do is pick up the water that's sitting on top of them. Hope that white Camaro comes in flawless. Nice wheels. I just feel awkward filming me when I'm detailing cars. Maybe I shouldn't do this as much as I want to, because what do I talk about? I feel like I just ramble. I could talk about my experience in building this car some more. Expectations versus reality versus, you know, how things could have been and should be. My expectations, at least. This wheels clean up nice. All right, I'm gonna leave the camera out here for a little bit while I just go inside and chill for a little bit. I'll let the dehumidifier do its job. Okay, she's clean. I'm gonna let it just sit for a little bit, and I'll come check back in a little bit. All right, got the Camaro back in the bubble where it's safe. I backed out of the single car, or out of the center of the garage, and got misted on, so I went and did a second coat or second application of the bead maker. I could be doing it wrong. I probably am doing it wrong, but I feel like that stuff works really well as a kind of like a quick detail spray, you know, like a spray wax, if you will, like Xano Z6, if you're familiar with that. I don't know if that's what it's intended for, but it worked really well. Just spraying down, you know, wiping in and buffing right off. Again, I'm not sure if that's how it's intended for, but I think that, you know, the characteristics of it being the ceramic coating simplified and using it in that type of, I guess, style, I think it works really well. So, all right, it's in the bubble, it's safe. I have that other Camaro coming in this week, so I'll probably try to make a video on that. I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. It's gonna complement this one. I mean, I don't need two Camaros, or three, I guess it would be. But it's cool. You only live once, and I work hard for my money. You know, I might as well enjoy some of it, right? Anyway, that should come in mid to late this next week, and I'm looking forward to getting that in. It's gonna be pretty cool. Bought it sight unseen, so who knows what it's like. But, all right, guys. I got practice in the morning, so I'm going to call it a night, but I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.